The Particular Abilities of Marinette and Her Discovery of Them by Planterfun06. A Miraculous Ladybug, Batman crossover fanfic. Chapter 8. Answers to a Decade-Old Question. Marinette may not have been able to see that rock, but she was pretty sure it was only that rock. She was following her muscle memory to get to the bakery, while studying the pavement beneath her feet. She was pretty sure it was okay to ditch school. Between the teachers nowhere to be found, and other students leaving in waves, and a student-turned-monster that attacked the school, she didn't think she would get in much trouble. She could see the fine layer of dirt on top of the pavement, from other shoes tracking it on. But beyond that, Marinette couldn't see the actual pavement, which only really served to confuse her more. According to Alia, the monster was rock. And from what she had heard from others, rock wasn't easily confused for other stuff. So why is it that the monster is rock, yet she can see it? Is it because it was Ivan? Does it being a person influence if I can see it? If that's true, why could I not identify what the monster was made of? She heard the jingle of the bell, signaling that she had just entered the bakery. God, she could get lost in her thoughts, and became aware of her slightly frantic Momin calming down at the sight of her at the door. "Oh, Marinette, we're so glad you got home safe. I was just about to run over to the school and pick you up and get you home. We saw what happened on the news. Are you okay? No one really knows what's happening. Are you hurt? You didn't get hit by anything, did you?" Momin was grabbing her arms and moving her around to check for any bruises or scratches she may have acquired. Marinette just shrugged her off. She was still trying to figure out what exactly she saw. Alia may have mistook it for a rock, but she had still never seen something like that before. "Momin, I'm all right. I promise. I'm just gonna go up to my room and take a nap." She would probably just end up lying in her bed and watching her plants. She liked the calmness they brought. She saw her Momin sigh, still observing her for any injuries. "Okay, Moonchoy, that may be for the best. All that chaos can really exhaust a person. If things start to get too crazy, I want you to come down here, okay?" she asked. "Okay, Momin." Marinette responded before going through the back door of the bakery that led to the building's staircase. One of the great things about Marinette's sight, in her opinion at least, was that it was very hard for her to get surprised. She could see the entirety of a building at once. She could wake up and lie in her bed and just watch her Momin and Papa cook breakfast in the mornings, listen to the radio, and sometimes doing little dances with each other. Or when she was watering and tending to her plants on the balcony, she would be able to see what's happening in the bakery, people going in and out. On later nights, while working on homework, she could see couples that were going on dates coming in, maybe get a box of their famous macaroons to split. She felt a little bit like a stalker at times, so she would shift her focus to something else. Over the years, she was able to train herself to only focus on the things in the same room as her, though she always had the rest of the building in the back of her mind, like what she imagined peripheral vision would be like, existing in her sight, but no focus in her mind to it. But on the occasion, sometimes she would see things in her peripheral vision that would have her do a double take. This is exactly what happened when she was walking up the stairs of her building and when she saw something in her room. She forgot all about the rock monster and her confusion over that in favor of the confusion over what was in her room. She doesn't know if she ever really saw anything like it. It was small. It could fit in the palm of her hand small. The details of it were a bit fuzzy because she was a couple floors down. But there was something there. Something she did not remember being there this morning. No denying it. "Go to it." Marinette slapped her hand over her knee and forced it down from raising it up to the next stair. "What the hell?" "Go to it." Every cell in her body was wanting, begging, pleading to go up the stairs. And Marinette grabbed the stairway rail and forced herself to keep a hold so as not to walk further up. The little back part of her mind kept saying over and over and over again, "Go to it. Go to it. Go to it." No, no, no. She gripped the railway harder. Now her hand was several steps behind her, and she was slightly leaning back to keep a hold of it from her position a few steps up. The rational side of her mind was screaming at her that something was wrong, that she should not approach it, that she needed to be wary, She had no idea what was sitting up in her room, and Mama and Papa wouldn't go into it without her express permission. And Papa wouldn't have left something in her room while watering her plants this morning. That was even if he got to watering them. Go to it. Her skin was crawling towards her bedroom, towards the thing, even it begging to get closer, unsettling Marinette even more. That voice in her mind telling her it was right, and the rational voice in her head telling her that nothing in this situation could be right. Go to it. No. Go to it. No. Go to it. No. Go to it. No. No. Go to it. No. No. Go to it. Go to it. Go to it. Was getting louder and louder, getting stronger and stronger, drowning out the part of her mind pleading with her not to, pleading with her to be wary, to not approach. But the little voice controlling her muscles, guiding her up the stairs, the hand gripping the stairwell had long ago gone slack and released. She grabbed her keys with no conscious effort and unlocked the apartment door, letting it hang wide open as she followed the voice up the stairs to her bedroom, letting the voice lift her hands, as if she was a puppet with strings, to open the trap door, and let gravity do the work of closing it back, until, finally, the strings let loose as she simply stood focused on the little thing in front of her on her desk, her sunglasses off and thrown over the chase, and her backpack sitting on the desk. She focused fully on the thing in front of her. Come to think of it, it reminded her of the rock she could see, and Marinette really did not like that she could make a connection between the two things in her mind. Both her classmate that had become a rock monster that she could see, as well as this thing sitting in front of her, now felt so oddly familiar, and reminded her of the rock at the same time. This thing that just appeared in her room. There are no coincidences in the world, and this was certainly no exception. The strings were back, the muscles in her arm tensing and contracting to move her towards the box. She picked it up and opened it. It was a box. Apparently it was a box. She didn't even realize she could open it until her arm was moving to do so. It was immediate. As soon as she slightly cracked the box open, it forced its way open against her hand, and whatever was inside it completely overwhelmed her senses like she had never felt before, forcing her to back away and cover her eyes, and covering herself for protection from whatever was going on. Marinette had been in and out of vision clinics and centers her entire life, and one of the things that had been described to her by other patients countless times was the moment they put on their glasses for the first time. It was like they were seeing the world clearly for the first time, and they always say it was absolutely amazing, saying that they didn't realize just how fuzzy the world was until those moments. Hello, my name is Tiki. I am the Kwame of creation. It was like putting on glasses for the first time, when she was focusing on whatever the hell just spoke to her. She had never seen something so sharply. When she saw something, she saw it in its entirety. She saw the bark of the tree, as well as the wood underneath it. She saw the fur of a dog, as well as the organs lying inside it. And when looking at this thing, she couldn't comprehend it. She felt as if she would go actually blind from focusing on it for too long. Then the reality that there was something she had never seen, apparently sitting in a box she couldn't comprehend, that was obviously sitting in her bedroom when she was seriously doubting Mama and Papa put this in here for her. So she did what was currently the best idea that came to her at the time. She grabbed her backpack, completely disregarding the $600 laptop sitting inside it, and started swinging. Calm down, Marinette. It's okay. The thing knew her name. The thing knew her name! Marinette was currently frantic, still swinging her backpack as this thing was dodging, panicking out of her mind. Marinette grabbed an old cup that was currently sitting on her vanity and lunged at the thing, trapping it under the glass. Okay, if this makes you feel safer, the thing said, as if anything in this situation was making her feel safer. What are you? How do you know my name? Marinette was severely concerned over a few matters that pertained to this thing's existence, let alone in her room. The thing giggled. Giggled! It could giggle? As I said, my name is Tiki. I am the Kwame of creation. And that's supposed to make sense to me? What the hell is a Kiwami? Marinette asked. It giggled again. What's this thing's deal with giggling? A Kiwami is an entity and an embodiment of an idea or concept. I am the embodiment of creation. I am tethered to this plane of reality by that pair of earrings sitting in the box you left on the desk over there. The Kiwami? She was going to have to learn to stop referring the Kiwami as thing in her mind. Pointed over to a box she had left open on the desk, and focused on it. She could see 2 earrings that she could see were made out of the same material as the Kiwami. Whatever that material was. She sat there for a few moments, staring a bit dumbfounded and splitting her focus between the thing in front of her and the jewelry she could now see sitting in the box she'd opened. Why earrings? It was kind of a dumb question. Not only because she was asking about probably the least important thing that the Kiwami had said. It had to be something. And earrings were small and went unnoticed, so if you wanted to keep it a secret, and easy to keep on you, something being tethered to a pair of earrings, or any small jewelry, wasn't too bad of an idea. So you can become a superhero, of course? And that answer sent her for a loop. She was expecting a few answers, maybe easy to conceal, or made with special metals. But never that. Never in her life had she ever expected something to be said to her that contained the 3 words, you, become, and superhero in the same sentence. Excuse me. Look, Tiki, was it? I don't know what you're getting at. And I would prefer not to process the last thing you just said to me, but I am. But if you were looking for some superhero or whatever, I'm not what you're looking for. I'm not capable of doing... I can't. Tiki, first and foremost, I'm blind. I could have a week and not be able to tell you all the reasons I can't be a superhero, but again, I'm blind. Even with a little god at my aid, I feel like that would be a hazard. It was not to lie. She was blind. It was not necessary to tell the Kiwami about her sight. I am not a god, she said with some layer of offense in her tone. In your mind, a god would be a creator and ruler of the universe. They tend to be arrogant fools who use people for their own amusement in horrifying ways, then demand worship from said people. The Kiwami continued, her voice gaining thick layers of scorn as she continued. I am neither the creator or ruler of the universe. I was created with the universe, not before, not after. I am simply an entity that embodies creation. I am not a god, and one of the few things I will not stand is being grouped with them. To Marinette, just stared at the Kiwami after her little rant for what could have been at least 30 seconds before finally associating with reality again. And another thing, where do you think you got your sight from? And this time, Marinette, as a whole, stopped. Because she had never uttered a word to anyone of her sight. Never once had she uttered the word at all. She was always very careful not to let on what she knew. Never once had she broken and spilled about her sight. She had never even spoken in private to herself about it. All thoughts of it had been kept inside her own head. Marinette's hands went lax, and the Kiwami floated through the glass. So it could get out that whole time? She knows. The Kiwami thing that appeared in my room knows. The Kiwami that's like but not but basically a god that appeared in my room knows. The Kiwami, Tiki, just implied that she's where her sight comes from.